My brother and I are going to attempt to survive 100 days in hardcore Minecraft. Can we do it without either one of us dying? We are going to do as much stuff as we can in these 100 days. One challenge we are setting for ourselves is that we can't sleep. This means that we will have to survive over 33 hours real life, not including if we die. Alright, let's get started. We have a random seed generating here. Day number 1, I open it up to land so that my brother can join. We collect wood and make farms, and then my brother dies. Wow, okay, that was only day 1.
New one, I guess.
Here's our attempt number 2. The first 3 days, we make a farm, kill some sheep, get some food, make some armor. We're doing well, you know. We go and we find a village, steal their hay bales, trap the villagers for later. We're gathering tons of iron from the caves, and we start settling down next to this village. On day 4, I decide to build a fence around our village to protect it from mobs, and we find diamonds, which was a surprise. On day 5, I just started a cow farm, let them into our fence. On day 6, I decided to slab over our water so that we could run over it for our sugarcane, and I built a cool little sheep pen. And then I dealt with phantoms in the night because we aren't allowed to sleep, which is annoying. For days 7 through 9, Dominic had this great idea of going to other villages and trying to raid them, but they didn't really have much except for a couple beds that I stole, and I had to run back in the night and while it was dark, and I was super scared of dying here because there was just a ton of mobs that I had to run past. And make sure if you like the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. This video took a long time to make. And we got our villagers going, got a ton of beds next to them. And I make some diamond armor now, so now I'm more comfortable going to the nether. Now I'm in the nether, and I'm about to gather the blaze rods. The fortress was pretty close to spawn, and these blaze rods weren't giving me too much trouble, except I was pretty scared of dying, even though I think the closest I got was only like down to 5 hearts. So when I came back, there were 2 baby villagers running around, which was nice to see. Days 10 through 12, I basically just spent building our starter house. I put the door sideways so that zombies wouldn't break them in. And I built the roof pretty interestingly. I think it looks pretty nice, actually. So that was our starter house. Found some more diamonds and fortuned them. Ended up with 40 diamonds after that. On days 13 through 15, I decided to start making an iron farm so that we wouldn't have to worry about iron anymore. And I just watched that iron golem screw up that phantom there. So here's my iron farm design. It's pretty simple. It's just 3 villagers and 3 beds and fence in a water area. And the village looks pretty nice from up here, which was pretty cool to see. The house design I thought looked cool. Start getting the villagers placed in their minecarts. Kind of frustrating there, but got it going. And I have a clock spitting out the iron, so like once it gets collected by the hoppers, it will spit it out onto the ground. And now I have to find a zombie that will pick up a helmet. And one of these guys actually does pick up the helmet, and I start bringing them in and it's picking off the other guys. But I remembered we had iron golems, which, yeah, it didn't really end well for that zombie. He got kind of screwed up by that iron golem. So I got a different one, and we're going around and it's nighttime and there's tons of phantoms spawning because we can't sleep. And eventually I got him into his little hole. On day 16, I almost had the iron farm fully functioning. I placed down the water to guide them into the lava pit that I had for them, and wood fence gates actually burn, and that's when tragedy struck.
Oh my! I accidentally hit the hammer. Oh no! I'm dead.
Yeah, it turns out there was a block there that the iron golem could get up on. Well, say goodbye to this world. It's time for attempt number 3, baby. Attempt number 3. Days 1 through 3, we spawned inside a plains biome, and I found some obsidian at that abandoned portal. Then we went searching for a village, walked through this desert for a while until we found one, and I blocked these villagers in their houses right away. The villagers had a couple cows ready to breed, so I bred them, and then we started our chest monster out in the middle of this town. We started our wheat farm right away, and also our sugarcane farm, and we also got our trees going out in the middle of this desert. Then I decided to go mining, found a bunch of iron. Dominic laid down the stairs for our path down to the mines, and I made some iron armor. I spent some time expanding the farm, and then I started on the fence that will go around the whole village. On days 4 through 6, I started working on the fence that would go around the village. I found some sheep to breed in the savanna biome. To stop mob spawning, I spammed a bunch of torches inside of our fence. Then I put a secondary fence inside of the main fence to stop the villagers from running everywhere. And then I let the villagers out of their cages to roam free inside of this newly created fence. I fed the villagers bread so that they would actually start breeding, and then I completed the whole entire fence, and here's the view from up top. Thankfully, the villagers had some bookshelves that we could use, and there was a skeleton shooting us through the cactus there. We needed a bigger enclosure for our cows, so I made that. On days 7 through 9, I got an enchanting table set up, and then I did some trading with Fletchers and got some bows and arrows to defeat some mobs with. Got protection 1 on all my armor just to be safe. Started a farm underground just to avoid phantoms. Finally got all the bookshelves we needed for max enchant. Then I spent a lot of time collecting wood so that I could trade with Fletchers. This iron golem was a little bit confused by these phantoms, and we finally decided to go to the nether. So I hopped in the nether, and it was a pretty terrible spawn. There was nothing really I could see. While I was in the nether, my brother went and mined a bunch of diamonds. We also got a Fortune 3 pickaxe, which was pretty sweet. By this time, we now had a ton of villagers inside of our village from all the beds I've been placing, and we started looking for some good trades. Got sharpness 5 on one of them, which is cool. I'll take that any day. Got some silk touch as well. Here's what our valuables chest is looking like, and then I went and I enchanted my diamond sword with the sharpness 5 to kill these phantoms, basically. I was sick of getting attacked by phantoms in the night, so I put a roof over our villagers, and now they can't get me. What fools they are. On days 10 through 12, I got started on an iron farm, and here's the design, pretty simple, same as I was doing before. I started getting the villagers out of their bed, and it actually went pretty smoothly, getting these villagers into their right locations. After I got all 3 of them up, no problem. I needed a zombie in the middle, so Dominic found a name tag, and that was what I was going to name the zombie, Jeff. But as I was bringing him up, yeah, a creeper exploded and almost killed me. I don't know how that creeper got up there. Thankfully, all the villagers survived, and I was able to just try again. This time I needed a zombie that could pick up a helmet because I used the name tag on the other one. There I got a zombie that could pick up a helmet, and I was bringing them up, and actually 2 of them came up, and somehow he walked right across that trapdoor, and I got all the way down to 2 hearts. I almost died. The rest of the night we spent killing phantoms. On days 13 through 15, I started with getting a full set of diamond armor for the nether, and then it was time to go in. Hey, I got feather falling 3 on those boots, which was pretty nice. And here I go into the nether, and I dig right into a bastion, which is kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time. But I was not ready for that at the moment, so I was just on a mission to find the fortress and get the blaze rods. Thankfully I found one over here, and I started killing the blaze. It was actually really hard to find a blaze spawner in this fortress, so I was looking all around, couldn't find one, but eventually I ended up finding 2 of them that were right next to each other, which was really cool. It made getting the blaze rods pretty easy and quick, so I got all the blaze rods I needed, and I ended up with about 13 in total. I also collected the nether wart from the fortress and came back home. My wheat was ready for harvest when I got back, and I instantly made a cleric so that we could get our ender pearl trade, and thankfully this guy had it. I cleaned up the iron farm a little bit, so now it looks pretty awesome. And then I went looking for some temples and some loot. Found a temple, looted all the TNT and all the chests. Not really that great of stuff in the chests. I came back and I started chopping down trees in the night for some more sticks, for some more emeralds from the Fletchers. And I trade super quick with them by hitting spacebar. On day 16 through 18, I got a bunch of ender pearls from my cleric that I got before. And then I went to chop more trees for more sticks, for more emeralds, for more ender pearls. And I eventually got 16 ender pearls, which was more than enough to go find the stronghold. I did a little bit more enchanting during this time and got a really good pickaxe, which I was pretty happy with. With my new pickaxe, we went and collected some sandstone, and my brother actually wanted to make a way on top of the nether, so that's what this big old pillar is about. Here's the village from this angle, and we got an Unbreaking 3 guy from our librarians, and I went out and gathered some pumpkins as well. I had to run back in the night, and here's the village from this angle, and on top of here. It's looking nice. I expand the tree farm out a little bit, and then I'm like, I should make my house here. So I destroy this smaller villager's house, and I start working on our house. On days 19 through 21, I was surprised to see the iron farm just churning out iron. I repaired my axe so I could chop down more wood, and I basically spent the whole 3 days working on our house. I tried to make the house have an interesting shape to it, and here's what it looks like now. And my brother got a new skin because I kept telling him to get a new skin. I tried acacia planks for the floor, but I don't think it looked quite right, so I decided to switch it out for oak. And I start working on the second floor now. It's coming together pretty nice. I'm liking the shape of it and the way it's looking. And here's one wall up completely. And I start making the second floor out of oak slabs again. And yeah, progress is coming along. I chopped down more trees to get more wood for the stripped oak. And yeah, I think it looks like a pretty nice house. Like I would want to live in it. It almost looks like a sandcastle at the end, which is not what I was going for, but hey, it's fine. I think it looks great. And then I start moving all of our stuff in there. I finally had the storage room up and running, and it was looking pretty good. I started moving all the stuff over. I tried putting the enchantment table upstairs, but there was a better spot for it downstairs, and it fit in way better. I added a composter contraption to throw away extra seeds. Next up, I got started on our villager trading hall. I went with a mixture of stripped oak and smooth sandstone, just like the house. I collected some leaves for the hall as well. Days 25 through 27 were mostly spent working on the trading hall. We wanted a great trading hall because villagers are OP. I needed a lot of logs for this build. The iron farm was pumping out iron as usual, and the trading hall was coming along great. I freed the villagers so that they would find their new workstations in my new build, and once they were in, I trapped them there forever. I started construction on the second floor of the hall to end day 27. You might be wondering what my brother was doing during all that time. Well, he was in the nether building a massive gold farm that uses entity cramming to kill the pigmen. After checking out Dom's gold farm, I expanded my wheat field so that we could trade wheat with the villagers to unlock the pumpkin and melon trades. The village is coming along nicely if I do say so myself. Next, I expanded the fence to give us more room to work with. The villagers were causing me a headache, but I needed more, so I fed them. My brother was working hard on his melon and pumpkin farm, and I needed more sandstone for my build. Some pillagers spawned on top of the pumpkin farm, and I didn't want to start a raid, so I let the iron golem destroy the guy with the banner. I worked on the roof of my trading hall, while Dominic got attacked by phantoms. I finally got the roof of this thing completed, and I trapped some villagers in their spots. I built the item drop-off station for the melon pumpkin farm, and then a creeper almost killed me.
Dude, I was literally so close to dying there.
After patching up the holes left by the creeper, I did some trading and got some Thorns 3 from this villager. On day 34, I finally got the mending trade. We had a villager infestation in our house, so I took care of that, and the villagers were having a much easier time finding their workstations. I got a couple of mending books and decided to put them on my pickaxe and axe. I needed a ton of wheat to unlock more trades from this villager, so that's what I did. And I got super excited when I got the pumpkin trade. Let's go! These stupid phantoms ended up breaking my helmet, and it was great to see Dominic's melon and pumpkin farm working like a charm. I got another pumpkin trade from this farmer, and I bought 4 more mending books. I think these villagers were a little bit confused, and I was getting annoyed with them, but I found out that the problem was because of a slab that I put on the composters. I got efficiency 4 from a guy, and I upgraded my armorer. My brother was building an exterior to his farm, and it was coming along surprisingly well. The farm was producing a ton of goodies for us. I got a Smite 5 book from a villager in order to kill phantoms easier, and I put it on my axe and tried it out. After missing a couple of times, I landed a few shots and it seemed pretty good, but then I accidentally hit an iron golem and almost died. Again. I ran for my life, and that's how day 36 ended. Days 37 through 39 were mostly spent expanding the farm, placing villagers in the trading hall, fixing the iron farm, and collecting emeralds. I finally got a new helmet from the armorer villager, and check out those leggings this guy was selling. Projectile protection 4 and unbreaking 3. Have you ever seen a better trade from one of these guys? I got a better bow from the levels I got from trading. Dominic's build around the melon pumpkin farm needed to be lit up, and while I was there, phantoms attacked, but my Smite 5 axe was too powerful. On day 40, we decided to go find the stronghold, so I gathered some supplies and we were off. The stronghold wasn't too far away, but we accidentally dug in the wrong spot. Oops! Turns out that was actually over here. After some time running around in the stronghold, we found the portal room. We weren't exactly ready to fight the Ender Dragon yet, so we just put a nether portal down, but we didn't go through it. We were to go back to our base and link it up from the top of the nether. This would make it be easy travel between the overworld and the end. On my way back, I snagged a couple of beehives and started making a way to get new beehives. Can beehives spawn in the desert? I got reminded that this was hardcore when this skeleton walked up on me swinging a full suit of diamond armor. I've never seen that before. My armor is pretty good, but could be better. I wanted a protection 4 villager, so I tried to get one. Instead, I got looting 3, depth strider 3, and fortune 3. Dominic found some carrots at a different village and brought them back, and we did some brewing to get ready for the Ender Dragon fight. On days 43 through 45, we bred bees and prepared for the Ender Dragon fight. We made sure to bring slow falling potions so we wouldn't die if the dragon flung us up in the air like ragdolls. I actually forgot the Eyes of Ender, so I had to go back for them. I literally thought that I lost them. Not kidding, I searched for these things for like 15 minutes, but they were just in the valuables chest all along. Yeah, that one was a facepalm. When I had them, I put them in the portal frames and we were in the end. We took down all the energy crystals and I got flung high in the air. Thank goodness for slow falling potions. Finally, we were able to defeat the Ender Dragon and win the game. It never gets old, just watching the Ender Dragon burst into rays of purple against a black sky and drop loads of XP. When we returned home, we did a little bit of trading and some villagers needed to die because they had no pumpkin trade. On days 46 through 48, Dominic started mining for ancient debris while I worked on a bee farm and an automatic potato farm. I found some spruce trees and brought them back to make Big Tree. This is one of my favorite bulk smelting designs. The potato farm came along very well. Hopefully no one watching has OCD because that column isn't really centered. I put in the villagers' composters and put a jack-o'-lantern on top of each one. On days 49 through 51, I finally was able to get all the villagers and collection systems situated. Then I started working on the honey and honeycomb farm. Once I knew that some beehives were full of bees, I placed them in the farm at night along with a lilac. Days 52 through 54 were mostly spent trading and sorting villagers. My brother also got all the ancient debris that we would need to upgrade all of our armor and tools. Oh yeah, take a look at all this shiny netherite. Stonks. I worked on the exterior of the honey farm for a while, and when I was done, I placed in more beehives. I labeled our librarians, and little by little, the village has gotten better. Days 55 through 60 started off with this cow being the mother of 20. I expanded our fence quite far away, which almost doubled the size of our plot, and once we were satisfied with our enchants on our diamond armor, we upgraded it to netherite. Now nothing can take us down. I completely finished the bee farm, got a better bow, and it was time to get a couple of elytras and shulker boxes. I built a small tree farm just in case we needed more blocks, and after a little bit of searching, we found our first end city. We killed many shulkers and got the elytra. And what is that in the distance? That's right, it was another end city about 100 blocks away. This city contained another elytra, which I gave to my broham. After raiding those two end cities, we came back home and I enchanted the elytras with Mending and Unbreaking 3. I got rid of this ugly starter farm, and Dominic was headed to the nether to kill wither skeletons for a beacon. The next thing that I started to work on was an automatic wool farm. All I needed was this arrangement of grass and a whole lot of dispensers. Geez, screw crafting these things. On days 61 through 63, I led some sheep into the farm. Dominic had a nice present for me, which was 3 wither skeleton skulls. After making the sheep farm functional, it was time to take on the wither. The battle started with an explosion. I rammed my flaming arrow straight into its body, and when it was half health, I ate a golden apple and went in for the kill. It didn't take long, and the wither was dead. Heck yeah, now I can make a beacon. Unfortunately, all of the iron trading I did made it so that we didn't have enough blocks for a full beacon base. We needed more fuel for our furnaces, so I went to the nether real quick and got 80 lava buckets. The wool farm and potato farm were producing like crazy. Even with the emeralds we had, it still wasn't enough to finish the beacon though. I also put honeycomb around the enchantment table. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? On days 64 through 66, I worked on a mob farm that's about 10 layers. This would mostly be used for getting more gunpowder and bones. I needed soul sand for some soul fires because soul fires do more damage than regular campfires. On days 67 through 69, I completed the redstone for the mob farm and collected a ton of wool for my wool farm. My brother and I decided to build a huge box around the mob farm, and it looks like an enormous tower. I turned the mob farm on and checked to see if it was working. Luckily it was, and I tried to make it more efficient by placing torches in a wide area around it. On days 70 through 72, I wanted to build a sugarcane farm, so I crafted a ton of pistons. I kind of went overboard though. I checked on the mob farm and tried decorating it with honeycomb. I went on a little bit of an adventure to find ink and slime. Thankfully, I found both and flew back to home base. I dyed some of my sheep black for black wool and traded a bunch of wool with shepherd villagers. I checked on the potato farm and traded those as well. After trading, we finally had enough emeralds to complete the beacon base and decided on speed 2. I went through the nether to get to some packed ice, and there was also a mesa right next to it. Hot and cold right next to each other. That's pretty neat. I restocked our bulk furnace and tested out a design for the sugarcane farm. On days 73 through 78, we found an ocean monument because of trading with a cartographer. There was no sponge room, however, which kind of sucked. I found a couple of saddles on the way back home and went looking for a companion. I found this llama, but I forgot that we couldn't put saddles on llamas, so instead I went looking for a horse. It almost died from some skeleton fire, but I eventually made it back home safely with my new friend. After expanding storage on the wool farm, I continued working on my sugarcane contraption. I used glazed terracotta because honey won't stick to it. While I was working on that, my brother was working on a slime farm. Turns out that we had 2 slime chunks directly under our home. We had to move the beacon lower so that haste would reach us. Days 79 through 81 were just spent making the cane farm look like a temple and digging out the slime farm. I had to avoid making a spawning platform for iron golems, and I needed even more sandstone for this build. On day 82, I ran back from collecting sandstone and kept working on my temple thinger. I built it up layer by layer and thought it looked pretty dang good. Maybe I'll put some other farms in it. I added some stairs to it, and Dom finally dug out the entire slime farm. I put in the collection system, and all we needed now was some iron golems to attract the slimes to their death. On days 85 through 87, I made the slime farm more efficient by placing iron golems to attract the slimes onto the magma blocks. The temple that housed the cane farm was coming along nicely. Then I tried using this blue fire. I think it looks pretty good. Then I checked on the mob farm rates and finished up with some trading. On days 88 through 90, I completed the sugarcane farm and checked profits from the slime farm. Dominic and I wanted to start a raid, so he built this little enclosure for villagers, but they got out when I placed the workstations. I think the raid ended because I removed the workstations. I tried wrangling up the villagers and Dom had to go get the bad omen effect again. When he came back, he accidentally started the raid over at this other village. Here we go, the raid started and I pulled out my handy dandy bow and went to town on these guys. I tried to do as much damage from long range as I could. The first few waves were no problem at all. Many of the villagers came in touch with the Grim Reaper though. Very unfortunate. Then it turned night. I had phantoms, crossbow pillagers, and the Vex all attacking me at once. Things got a little scary, but with the help of my brother and some golden apples, nothing could take us down. Just a few more Vex to take out and one more Johnny, and the raid was over. That was quite a success as we got about 10 totems of undying, which are super useful in hardcore mode. Then this villager gave me some lapis. The next thing on our to-do list was to take down a bastion. We were very cautious in there. We made sure to have strength and fire resistance on us at all times. This bastion was called the Hogland Stables, and we didn't find very much loot here. There were also only a few piglin brutes. Thankfully, I found a Soul Speed 3 book for my boots. Next up, I worked on a small semi-automatic cocoa bean farm. Then I cleaned up the village a little bit and started constructing some new villager houses. It was time for Operation Expand Village. I tried using a lot of pots with cactus and bamboo for decoration, and I think they look pretty nice. I just added a couple more houses, see if you can spot them. It was starting to get down to the wire for 100 days, and we wanted to raid another ocean monument because the first one we did didn't have any sponge in it. So here I was, stuck fishing for pufferfish in order to make some water-breathing potions. I caught a ton of cod, and quite a few name tags surprisingly. I fished through the night, and I still only caught 3 pufferfish. But 3 is enough to make 9 potions, which is more than enough for the 2 of us. With the extra fish that I caught, I snuck up to a cat, tamed him, and I named him Timmy. So my 2 pets are named Timmy and Jappy. Dominic made a way to get to the next ocean monument through the nether because it was super far away. The portal was right next to the monument and I broke in before I got mining fatigue. This elder guardian thought he was tough, but after a few swings of my sword, I turned him into sushi. We got super lucky with this ocean monument because it had 3 sponge rooms. After mining fatigue wore off, we collected all of the sponge and made our way back home. The nether looks funky with the night vision effect on. We made a quick pit stop back home to get some fire res and strength together because we weren't satisfied with the first bastion we defeated. This next one I believe is called Treasure Room. I really didn't want to die, so I took out as many piglin and piglin brutes from long range as I could. After raining my arrows on them from above, I made my way down the rings. I had only one melee encounter with a piglin brute and one of us didn't live to tell the tale. Yeah, it was him. The middle of the treasure room had super good loot. There was tons of gold, and would you look at that, another notch apple. I grabbed a few more blocks of gold inside the walls of the bastion, and then we made our way back home. On days 97 through 99, I put away our loot and fixed a little problem I was having with the slime farm. After it was fixed, I was happy to see that it was producing like crazy. The wool farm was backed up too. I didn't want to deal with that at the moment, so I worked on some more villager houses. I tried using this 5x5 building method inspired by Andy's Yoda, and I tried to add a good amount of detail. I added trapdoors, potted plants, carpet, and beds for the villagers. I added a little dead bush plants. I added a bed in this house. I added some trapdoors and some more beds in some other houses. And yeah, building was coming along pretty nicely. I got Optifine and shaders, which were surprisingly super easy to install, and I have to say, the village looks super cool with these shaders. It brings my game down to about 10 frames per second though. Day 100, this was it. Everything we worked towards all came together at this moment. Our accomplishments, the enemies we defeated, the farms we built, our village. It was leading up to day 100, and we did it without either one of us dying. We had a few tricks up our sleeve for day 100. We started by making sure that these totems when dying actually worked, which they thankfully did. It would have been a shame if we actually died on this day. Now I want you to take a long, hard look at these enchanted golden apples. Whoops, now they're in the fire. It just slipped, I don't know what happened. They were sacrificed for a worthy cause. Hoo-ha, hoo-ha-ha, hoo-ha-ha, hoo-ha-ha. I did one last fly around seeing our sandstone mine, a mine that my brother dug out while I was building, and one last look at the village. I also want to show you my stats. I'm showing all of my stats here. I took 1500 damage, flew 61 kilometers, sprinted another 68 kilometers, and walked an extra 95 kilometers. That's a lot of exercise. But the most important one is that we played on this world for 1.38 days, which is 33 hours. I broke and placed a lot of sandstone blocks and encountered about 6,000 sticks, 1,000 melon blocks, and 2,000 emeralds. Not sleeping allowed me to kill 307 phantoms during this time. Wow, that's a lot. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I mostly do free code camp tutorials on this channel, but thought that making a Minecraft video would be a lot of fun. Thank you all for watching and have a splendid day.